I want to say some words about the Torah portion that we have been reading just now. It's Mishpatim, the ordinances of the Lord. And a big part is it's a part that is following the Ten Commandments or the Torah portion from last week. For instance, we read last week, you shall honor your father and your mother so that you will be well in the land that the Lord is giving you. We have been reading this last week. And this week, today we read the one who is not honoring his parents shall be dead, shall be killed. There are also other interesting passages in this Torah portion. For instance, it's talking about the Hebrew slave. Which can provoke us to think about our relationship with God, or to renew our relationship with God, or to change it. The question is, how do we react to God's love for us? There is a passage in Matthew 5 where it's talking about eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And mostly, I think it's connected with revenge, taking revenge. So, as you do to me, I do to you, kind of. But this passage talks about to avoid that bad things or even more bad things happen. And at the end, it's talking about the covenant that is sealed with blood. The covenant that God cuts with His people will be sealed with blood. And there are parallel passages in the letter to the Hebrews that compare the covenant of Yeshua and his blood, which was a sacrifice that was much more precious to us. The verse which I spoke about, whoever honors his parents or whoever does not honor his parents should be cursed. There is a parallel verse in Matthew chapter 15, the first 5 verses. It's about the Pharisees who come to Jesus and tell him, why is it that your disciples do not wash their hands before eating? They transgress the commandments of the elders or the traditions of the elders. Yeshua answers, said to them, you change the commandments of God because of your own tradition? Why do you also transgress the commandment of God? It was an obligation for the parents to care for their parents of the children, an obligation to care for their parents when they get old. And now they had the possibility, the Pharisees, to take the money that was originally for the parents, to take it and give it as a sacrifice to God in the collection, or to give it to God. And so they were free and didn't have to care for their parents anymore, because they gave the money to God. And so Yeshua said, you transgress the commandment of God, take away the commandment of God because of your tradition, to follow your own ordinances or your own tradition. And a man who is not caring for his parents or human being, individual, should be dead. The Pharisees said, no, it's not necessary. You give the money to the temple and everything will be fine. And he's closing with a quotation from Isaiah. Yeshua, you honor me with your lips, or my people is honoring with my lips, but their heart is far away from me. We have to pay attention and watch that we transgress the commandments of God because our human traditions, because of human rules and traditions. And we always have to ask us the question, where is my heart? What is in my heart? Is my heart really with God and for God? Or do I try to please human beings, men? This is not always easy. Because many of the ordinances which we have read are strange for many of us in Western society. In Western culture, they seem to be strange sometimes. But the scriptures say the one who does not honor his parents should be killed, should die. In our time, in our society, there is a right for children to sue the parents if they are not agreeing with their parents, to go to court. And there is the law that God says you should not kill. So if you kill somebody, you should be killed. It's not about fighting for God's commandment in our society, what I'm talking about here. I want to talk about our heart and to set our heart upon God's things, upon God's commandments, and to honor God's laws and ordinances and commandments higher as human laws. Amen.